Welcome to another episode of Promptly Speaking, an official IBPAP podcast. In this episode, I'll be interviewing Mr. Jericho Go, Senior Vice President of Robinson's Land Corporation. Let's welcome our viewers to the next episode of Promptly Speaking. Today's guest, we have Jericho Go, the President and CEO of RCR. That is Robinson Land's REIT company. And he is also the Senior Vice President of RLC. Always good to see you, Jerry, and thank you for being part of this podcast.
Thank you, Jack, for having us.
And I am looking forward to this conversation. But perhaps to start things off, can you share with our listeners the story of how you ventured into real estate, leading into your present position at Robinson Land?
How much time do you have?
Oh, we have all the time we need, Jers.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because it actually started when I was very young. No, even as early as grade school, my dad always told me that you could never go wrong when it comes to investing in real property. So I guess that the seed was planted right there and there. No, but my dad himself was into the hardware business. No, supplied construction materials to different sets of companies. So in a way, that kind of like opened my eyes or the doors, no, to have an awareness with regard to real property. But of course, after graduating from college, decided to take my chance in applying for jobs primarily in Makati, no, because that's where the action was at that time. So 1993. So I graduated 1993 from the University of the Philippines, and so I said, okay, I'll apply for jobs. No? And it was just very fortunate that I had this opportunity to join Ayala Land Incorporated, Ali, at that time. That was my first job. No? And obviously, one thing led to another. And again, it's proven me correct, no? That real property or real estate was really the way to go.
Ayala Land in 1993. I missed you by 2 years.
Yeah,
I joined Ayala Corp in 95.
No, but obviously you've already been a rock star by then, and your name resonates all over the place, no? With or without you physically being present in the building.
I'm not so sure about that, Jers, but maybe you can share with us a particularly memorable or maybe a humorous anecdote. In the early stage of your career.
Yeah. If you won't mind, Jaka, I would like to share something that is more, not really very current, but just
of course,
maybe less than 5 years ago. No? Because remember, I'm, of course, with Robinson's Land Corporation, right? And the very first time that I had an opportunity to present, no, to our executive committee, to our board, it was my first time being introduced, no, to Mr. James Go, Mr. Lance Gokongwei was there, Mr. Frederick Go was there, Mr. Patrick Go, and the rest of, I guess, mostly the family, the Go family, the Gokongwei. And together with the other general managers, they were also present there.
This was your first time?
First time in Robinson, so to present, no, being introduced to the executive committee. So I started off by saying, I'm the new general manager for Robinson's offices, and I will be presenting our business unit updates or highlights. And then during the course of the presentation, Mr. James had a question. He had a question. So I can't remember what the question really was, but then I responded and I said, well, actually, Mr. Go. Then he stops me. He tells me, Jericho, don't call me Mr. Go. All of us here are Mr. Go, including you. So please call me Mr. James. So I would never forget that instance because that actually broke the ice. Because from then, it became more comfortable. It became a little bit more relaxed. People actually had a big laugh because of that incident, and then everything else was just smooth flowing after that. So that I will never forget that situation.
That's pretty memorable,
Yeah.
Jerry. And I guess that is a Robinson's tradition.
Yeah,
Since you
no,
all have
but
a
then
common name.
again, a lot of people, they every time that they get introduced, no, they assume that I'm part of the family, and I'm not, because I'm a professional hired, no, so professionalizing the organization. So I also am very careful with regard to that. I don't want to have this misrepresentation or this impression that I'm part of the Gokongwei family, because I'm not related to the. I wish I were, but I'm not. So I'm a professional hired by the organization to work in the office buildings division.
Your story speaks pretty well of I guess, the culture
Yes.
and the work environment, in the conglomerate. It does it feel like a family company?
Another thing related to that, Jack, definitely. The first time I had a one-on-one with Mr. Lance Gokongwei, of course, our former president and CEO, Mr. Frederico, was also there. What Mr. Lance asked of me was, Jerry, can I call you Jerry, or do you prefer to be called Jericho? So either way, Mr. Lance. And then he says, I still don't have your number. Can I get your number, your mobile number, so that you can also get mine? So I was like, okay, that's kind of nice. And then the main reason why he asked for my number is, anytime you need anything, call me or message me. I'm here to help. Can you imagine
Wow.
that? The owner, the president, the CEO, and of course, our chairman for Robinson's Land Corporation at that time, offering to help. And it was my first time to have met him. No? So definitely it makes you feel like, you're here, you're a safe space, we're family here. But and I think, remember during the launch of the Jewel
Yeah.
project, there was a quote that I mentioned there about Mr. Land saying that the family is here to support the business. The business is not here to support the family. So
I remember that.
yeah, so that part, I think it actually just goes to show that this is the kind of leadership. No, it's a servant leadership kind of exposure to the kind of leadership that we have in this Gokongwei group.
That story, Jerry, about him personally asking for your phone number, that really does not happen very often, I can tell you.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's ever happened to me in that way.
Okay.
It was a way of getting
Yeah.
someone's phone number and the reason why.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So oftentimes it's basically, can I get your number because if I need something from you.
Correct. There is a business reason,
Yeah.
not a personal one.
That's right.
So Jerry, I mean, you're a very busy, productive person. Your schedule is always full. I know that whenever I try to reach out to you. But what do you do in your downtime? Are there specific hobbies or pursuits that are more fun that you do?
Again, when I was much younger, high school, college, I actually was very much into sports, no? Because that's how my dad, our family, that's how we were brought up. So basketball during lunch break in school, and then volleyball varsity
Wow.
after school, and then football during
Where
recess
did you go
time.
before UP? Did you go to Xavier?
Colegio San Agustin.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Dasmariñas Village,
You're a
Makati.
Makati boy.
Yeah. So, but it was very fun. No? I mean, being able to relate and communicate and to, to play and to have this sort of like meaningful exchanges during after lunch break, recess time, and things like that. So, I'd like to be sort of like carry on with that tradition, even in my family right now, for the kids to be more inclined to sports. So that's why today, because I really can't play those sports as aggressively again as before, I'm now into badminton. So that's one of the hobbies. Yeah, family
But that's
badminton.
that's not an old man sport either.
It's
That-
not.
that-
It's
that's
not.
very grueling.
That's right. But I think it's something that we can play as a family. So I have 4 kids, of course, including my wife as well. So we're able to play badminton as a family. So
Well, that
Saturdays,
makes sense, right?
yes.
It's a sport you can actually play
With the family, yeah.
all together.
That's right.
So
that's
I
right.
guess you play doubles.
Doubles, definitely. Singles, no, not. I don't think I can do that anymore. Yeah.
Anything else in your day-to-day routine, Jers, that our listeners may not know that you do?
Well, what is interesting is that it dates all the way back, and I hope you wouldn't mind sharing this story. I just have this personal story I wanted to share with you, because after Ayala, so I joined Megworld Corporation. That was in 1997. And in 1997, the very first thing that I worked on for my boss at that time, Chairman Dr. Andrew Tan, was this project in Libis, Eastwood City.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So in 1997, we put up a paper, a proposal, a concept to the Philippine Economic Zone Authority for the very first IT park in the Philippines. So obviously, this was inspired by in Bangalore of India. So at that time, Director General De Lima, and together with the Secretary of Department of Science and Technology, Secretary Padolina, they spoke about having something like an IT park in the Philippines, similar to what they already have in Bangalore. So we put up a paper, and then we discussed this and showed it to the chairman, and then he said, okay, let's do that in Eastwood City. Wow. 2 years after, fast forward.
Was this one building?
No, it was the entire estate, about 13 hectares at that time. So the first two were Citibank and IBM. So those were the first two IT buildings inside an IT park, which is Eastwood
What was
City.
declared as a PEZA
It was
zone?
a peso. The entire thing.
Entire
The
Eastwood.
Entire thing. Yeah, the entire thing. But the funny thing was, Jack, was that at that time, there was no IT park registration document with PEZA. So you had to register as an industrial park. So you had to adapt certain rules and regulations of an industrial park. But of course, it actually progressed, and one thing led to another, and now we have what we call as IT park, IT buildings, IT zones. But I think what I wanted to share there was in 1997 and in 1999, being the very first IT park, it was like a seller's market. So, tenants were coming. Were coming because it was the only game in town at that time. So, what happened then was, in 2000, 2001, around that time, so I was, because from executive assistant to the chairman, I was given the opportunity to rise up the ranks to become the vice president for the company at that time to handle Eastwood City IT Park.
I see.
But of course, with success, to some extent, maybe some fame and all of recognition at that time, success actually got into my head. So because of that, I was not very aware, but now I am, that the personality became abrasive, disrespectful, and demanding. Not only to clients, but to the brokers that brought in clients. You're 5 minutes late. Why do we have to wait for you this long? I'm a very busy person. My time is precious as well as yours. So please don't be late again. But maybe it wasn't really nice, no? I mean, sometimes there has to be a certain level of respect and consideration. So
But when this was happening, Jers, you did not spot it yet. You
Not
realized this later.
I realized it later, and that later was during the dot-com crash.
Okay.
2000, 2002, the peak,
Yes.
right? Because during that time, for one entire year, I had no transaction. I got called into the office of the chairman to explain to me that this is our business. We need to keep moving and keep signing deals. Otherwise, the business does not become viable. So, in my mind, that was already a wake-up call. Because, obviously, they're very diplomatic about these things. But if you read between the lines, 1 year, no transaction, no lease, no one is untouchable. No one is irreplaceable. So, I knew right there and then that I was kind of like hanging on a cliff or skin of my teeth.
I see.
So I might be given the pig slip or shown the door or whatever you want to call that. But so realizing that, I went to the church. I went to the church and said, on bended knees, I said, Lord, I'm deeply sorry for the people I've offended and for so much pride and humility went out the door. I forgot all about everything is a grace from you. At that time, I already had 3 kids. 3 kids. So Lord, please help me save my job. I need to be able to provide and support my family. I promise you that from here on end, all glory will be yours and yours alone. 3 weeks, not even a month now. Because I think I probably have only about a month before I get shown the door, right? I just felt it. No? I don't think not being able to produce can give you a pass all throughout your life. No? You have to be accountable, right? So 3 weeks, I was able to sign my very first deal after a year of not having a deal signed.
Wow.
And then after that, every month, I keep signing deals left and right. So it's quite obvious, no? It was through God's grace and realizing that, hey, you need to wake up, no? Because
certainly a milestone, Jerry, in your career, no?
Yes.
And what a fortunate moment that you were able to very quickly realize, because sometimes these things evolve over time and you don't really catch it, but you were able to do so, and I'm sure that was very left a lasting impression.
I mean, God basically found a way to remind me that a lot of our achievements, if not all of it, I think all of it in my case, is because of His grace. No, we work as hard as we can, but a lot of things happen that are beyond our control. Yeah.
That lesson certainly served you well. I mean, your rise to the very top of Philippine real estate. Jerry, can you share with our listeners, other leadership principles that have helped you, in your rise to the top?
So I guess it's quite obvious now, Jack, know what that is. No, number 1 is humility. So I think there are a lot of things that you can achieve once you're always able to keep yourself in check. But together with that, if I can also share this thing that I've also encountered during my, middle into the career, there was this parenting seminar that I attended in Ateneo, and they showed this video. It's called Dwell Scott. So it's the plight on an overseas Filipino worker, being separated from her kid, and it says 7 out of 10 overseas Filipino workers are mothers. So that actually made me realize, that if there's a way that we can proactively participate in helping reduce the instances or incidents where family members are being separated from each other because of circumstances or lack of opportunities, then well and good. So that's where the passion of developing offices and being able to work with IT, BPM, because it creates jobs. It creates opportunities that lead to reverse migration. Those that have left already our country, or even the ones that are in the provinces that have come into Metro Manila in search of jobs, can now remain where they are. Then Robinsons will just bring the jobs to them, whether that's in Iloilo, Bacolod, Cebu, Davao. Stay where you are. Be stay with family, be with family. And then the benefits, you can see happier employees because they're with family, and at least the things that they earn, no, they benefit from it, no. So for me, it has to be part of leadership. Has to be being able to answer the why, the higher purpose of why you do what you do. So to me, I think that is important. Be humble, but have a higher purpose in the things that you do.
Thank you for sharing that, Jerry. And that's really powerful. And again, this is probably the time when I need to, for our listeners, thank you and your team in RLC for the decades-long support of the IT BPM industry. Indeed, as a pillar of the Philippine economy, we couldn't achieve this kind of growth without the support and commitment of our real estate partners. And everyone in the IBPAP team knows what
you guys, Jack, you're being humble again, and I'm glad that you are. But IBPAP, you guys have really done a huge service to the country, no, not just to the sector, because I think we are all aware, no, that the jobs that are created by the sector, they have at least maybe a 5 times multiplier effect. So they provide jobs for the retail sector, service sector, food sector,
correct,
healthcare, and so many more.
And what's really makes me even happier about that, Jerry, is that this phenomenon has expanded into the countryside. And
yes,
whenever I go to a place like Dumaguete or Bacolod,
yes,
and I see, your properties there, it just reminds me, wow, this has really come a long way.
It has.
So let's switch gears. I know you're a champion of sustainability, green spaces, and certainly it's very consistent with IBPAP's roadmap, which we would like to be ESG driven. No? Can you describe some of the things that RLC has done to promote this?
Yeah. Again, there is a why into that as well. I mean, like in my family, I ask my youngest, no, I think he's past millennial. He's probably Gen Z already. He's Gen Z, 2004. So that's probably Gen Z already. So I asked him, why does he prefer to have an electric vehicle over a regular vehicle? No? So because he's already in college. No? So I said, why? I mean, it's more convenient. You have gas and everything. But they're very conscious, no, about the environment. As a matter of fact, they would prefer a more expensive cup holding coffee over a cheaper one if it were, if it's biodegradable,
right?
Something that is for the environment. And again, I realized that it's their time now. So whatever happens from now into the future, they will be the ones to benefit or suffer from the consequence of our lack of attention to the environment. So realizing that, and realizing that a good number of our employees, our population now in the office, are Gen Zs, then it is important for us to be fully aware and to walk the talk. So we said, okay, from here on end, all future buildings will be LEED certified. And then the buildings that we've already constructed that are not yet green certified, we will make an effort to apply them with EDGE certification. That's why IFC, EDGE, they said, thank you, Robinson's Land Corporation. You're our very first REIT EDGE champion in the Philippines. So
first one?
The first one, REIT EDGE champion in the Philippines. So that's by IFC, no, in terms of the World Bank Group. So we said we are definitely committed to this, and on top of that, we always find a way to also innovate. We've put up hydroponics farm on top of our building. So I don't know if I've shown you that already, but
Yes.
I would like to invite you to come into our office at the 25th floor, just walking distance away from where we are having this podcast or interview, and let me show you what we've done there. No, because that also comprises our ESG commitments. So environment, obviously, it's a green roof. Plants absorb carbon dioxide. They emit oxygen. So it reduces our carbon footprint. And the reason why we also want to have it in the city is so that within a 5-kilometer radius, you can deliver the freshly harvested vegetable so that it's really very fresh, no? And you're able to keep it that way. And at the same time, our employees, we say, now that we are producing vegetables at the rooftop, why don't we put out a plan where each of us get to consume those vegetables, no? So that healthy eating, healthy living, so that you get sick less, then you're more productive that way, right? So these are the kind of initiatives that we have been creating
And
at
they
Robinsons.
are not just important, but they are also an imperative, I would say, for businesses.
Correct.
Because as you said, your 19-year-old
Yeah.
represents that generation who are very conscious of the brands they select.
That's
based on the values, those kinds of values. But Jers, you talked about LEED earlier,
Yes.
and I'm sure some of our listeners would like to learn more. What exactly is LEED, and how do you get that kind of certification?
So leadership in energy and environmental design. There's also EDGE that I mentioned earlier, no? Excellence in design for greater efficiency. No? So in those cases, I think to be able to get the certification, you have to make sure that you are energy efficient. No? So for example, buildings need to have LED lighting fixtures, which are obviously more energy efficient than the ordinary bulbs that you have in your house, possibly. Water utilization should also be at a minimum as much as possible. You have low flow water fixtures, waterless urinals perhaps, and water catchments, no, that can recycle rainwater in terms of flushing the toilets, watering the plants, and things like that. And you also have electric vehicle charging stations. You have, to some extent, maybe some may have solar panels also to augment your power requirements for your common areas. So just amongst the few things, no, that you can do to be able to achieve those certifications. But more importantly for LEED, from the very beginning that you plan the project, you should already have green features in mind. Because from the time that you mobilize, from the time that you start construction, you would need to have all of those things in place, no, to be able to get points to get LEED certification.
Many of our locators in the IT BPM industry increasingly are applying that as a criteria, for their site selection process. So it's good to hear that.
Jack, I'm not surprised.
At the front.
I'm not surprised because in the end, who are the companies that we're catering to? MNCs, multinational corporations, Fortune 500 companies who themselves have a very defined commitment in terms of environment, social, and governance, ESG, right? So if even their customers, or the customers that they cater to, or the clients that they cater to, have this deliverable in terms of ESG. So that simply means that it follows, no, all the way through, no? Especially in our case, we're a space provider, for our customers or clients.
What are some of the emerging technologies, Jerry, that you see that will most greatly impact the property sector in the years to come?
Maybe not just the property sector, no, but a lot of businesses. I think artificial intelligence, generative AI, obviously is here to stay. And I think rather than fear generative AI or AI in general, we should completely embrace it. Because the way we see this, particularly in our business, it helps make things more efficient.
Absolutely.
So for example, note-taking, reporting, all of these things, no? All the things that you actually don't want to do. I think if AI can get into the picture and help free us from those mundane tasks, then it will allow us to be more creative. It will allow us to be more customer-centric. It will allow us to be more inquisitive and more involved, no? When it comes to client or customer satisfaction. So that's how we see generative AI, no, in being able to free us up from all of those tasks that probably we don't want to do but we need to do or needs to get done, and focus more on customer centricity. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, Jerry. You know, it's obviously a question that I get asked also a lot. But you know, I understand the concern. But I think in the history of work, technologies come around, and the immediate reaction is fear
Yes.
of job displacement.
Fear of the unknown, eh?
But you know, the IT BPM industry is all about efficiency and
Correct.
productivity.
Yeah.
And even before AI, we've always wanted value-added services.
Exactly.
Now we have that opportunity.
Exactly.
You know, an AI platform can actually, and research has proven this,
Yes.
make our agents be more efficient and productive
Correct.
by a huge percentage. And it allows, I mean, there will be jobs that
Yes.
are rightfully automatable,
Yes.
right? But that now frees them to reskill,
Correct.
learn new things that
Correct.
will deliver more revenue.
That's right.
And the Philippines, I believe, is well positioned for
Definitely.
growth in IT BPM.
Definitely.
But you know, you already know that.
Yeah,
Jerry.
yeah,
I mean,
that's right,
We
that's right.
are, you know, during the pandemic,
Yes.
we grew almost 300,000 new jobs for the Philippines. So,
Correct. Correct.
and hopefully in the next 5 years, we will continue on that track.
That's
So
the idea.
on that similar vein, Jers, no, there's some unexpected rapid fire questions, which is a part of this
Rapid
show.
fire, huh?
So you know,
Okay.
just say the first thing that comes into your mind. I will read off these questions very very fast. What is your type of song or music?
Hip hop,
One thing that always makes you smile.
family,
Favorite subject in school.
math,
Wow. Complete this sentence. I cannot go through my day without.
prayer,
Favorite sport.
badminton,
Greatest athlete of all time.
Michael Jordan,
I agree. With that. Guilty pleasure.
eating chocolates,
Swiss or Japanese watches.
Swiss,
Of course. Name a skill you would want to learn instantly.
playing the piano.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would love to be a pianist. And what is the best advice you've ever received in your life?
My dad told me to always take care of the name of the family. Don't ever get tempted with whatever's being offered to you, no matter how huge the amount may be, because through hard work, one way or the other, you're going to be able to earn that back. But the reputation, your name, you protected with your life because you passed that on to generations and generations of our family. So take good care of our name.
Now, that is so powerful
Yes.
and valuable. You know, I feel the same thing about reputation. It is the hardest thing to live down.
Yes.
You know, because once it's out there, and you can't control it anymore.
Definitely.
So, thank you for sharing
Thank
that
you, Jack.
with our listeners. We actually have two more
All right.
questions.
Sure.
Jerry, and I will just read this now. As a leader, you know, mentorship is quite you know, plays a very crucial role, and you know, as you practice leadership, how do you practice mentoring within your team for the next generation of leaders, as part of your legacy?
I've always made it very clear, no, to our team that there's a reason why you are at the position that you're in right now. And if it's a very high position, then all the more you have to serve those that are depending on your leadership. We have to remember that I think managers or even officers may not have the same kind of access to resources and to top executives. And they just want to get the job done. So as leaders, it is our primary duty to ensure that they have the kind of access to resources and tools to make them highly productive. No? So essentially, the message to them is, the higher you are in the organization, the more conscious you are that you should be serving those that are reporting to you, because they need the access, they need the resources to be able to deliver the output that's being required of them. So it's true servant leadership that I would like to espouse with the team. And secondly, I think it's very important for you to always keep in mind the higher purpose within the organization. We're just fortunate at the Gokongwei Group that it's very clearly laid out for us: entrepreneurial mindset, stewardship, and integrity. So when you keep all of those things in mind, you're fully aware that we are here for a purpose, and that is to be of service to our fellow men, our countrymen. No? So because when you create jobs, you're actually providing opportunities for people to be able to feed their families. So, and I think that that's the same kind of leadership that we have under Mr. Lance Gokongwei. Because we all know for a fact that the guy doesn't have to work anymore. But why does he still keep on working and toiling? That's because of the numbers of families, thousands and thousands of people that are dependent on the jobs that we create in the organization. So I'm just very glad to be part of this organization where our main role is to be of service to the people that depend on us as their leaders.
Yeah. Thank you, Jerry. Powerful words to share with the next generation of leaders. Servant leadership. Higher purpose.
Yes.
Integrity.
Yes.
Absolutely non-negotiable, right? So very, very powerful and wise words. I want to thank you again, Jerichos, for spending time with me. It's been fun getting to know you
even more
through this conversation, and I'm sure our listeners had a great time getting to know you even more than they've heard.
Yeah.
So
Jack, if I may, maybe in one of the episodes, so many episodes, can we reverse the roles? Can I be the one to interview one of these days? Doesn't have to be very soon.
I would enjoy that very much. I'd like nothing better, Jers, because I always enjoy every single conversation.
Yeah.
This podcast is really all about having a genuine conversation.
That's right.
with like-minded
That's
people.
right.
So thank you for your time.
Always a pleasure
with me at this episode of Promptly Speaking.
Thank you, Jack.
IBPAP's first podcast.
And congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jerry, and looking forward to the next time.
Thank you.
Woo! Thank you for listening to another episode of Promptly Speaking, an IBPAP official podcast. Please stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next episode.
That's information technology and business process management. We are coders and programmers, agile animators, illustrators, auditors, analysts, from consultants to managers, searching nurses and doctors, data developers and testers, VA smiling CXRs and artificial intelligence engineers. Oh wait, there's more. We are problem solvers and number crunchers. We speak in several languages, including Java, Python, Python, and so on. And on and on and on. We create heroes and villains. We gain
Speaking with the Philippines. Join us